Welcome to Life Beyond Clinical Practice.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Life Beyond Clinical Practice podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Diane, and coming to you live for the first time in June since we moved to our bi-weekly schedule. And as I move into this new season of really slowing down, less is more, quality over quantity, I really want to dive a lot deeper into the career identity framework that underpins the work of Life Beyond Clinical Practice. So I really hope you're going to enjoy this new cadence and the depth within which we're going to explore what it means to expand beyond your clinically defined identity. Now, in this first episode, what I want to do is really start addressing the real reason successful mid-career professionals start feeling restless. Now, if you're a listener of this podcast, I'm sure you've reached a point, like many others have, where you've quietly wondered, is this all there is? And the danger is what happens next. Because most people assume they only have two choices, right? When they've outgrown their current role, they think that either they just stay and put up with it or leave and start something completely new. But what if there's a third option? What if you don't need a new career and you simply need a bigger identity? Now, in our last episode, we chatted to Dr. Janice Look, who shared her career expansion story. And if you haven't listened to that, I'd encourage you to go back and listen to that episode, because what's important is that Dr. Janice Look never stopped being an optometrist. She simply expanded what being an optometrist meant. She moved from I provide eye exams to I improve eye health wherever eye health intersects with people's lives. And that shift not only created identity expansion, but led to industry partnerships, education opportunities, entrepreneurship, speaking, and thought leadership within the beauty industry. And critically, without abandoning her clinical identity or clinical practice. Essentially, her curiosity about a problem she saw every day in her practice led to opportunity recognition and career expansion. And that is exactly what career identity expansion is, when your identity stops being tied to traditional professional roles and job titles. Your career can then expand in multiple unexpected ways. Now, here's why mid-career professionals feel restless. Let's get to the gist of what I wanted to talk about today. The traditional narrative says you're burnt out, you're unhappy, you're in the wrong profession, etc. But often, what's really happening is that you're growing. Your interests are evolving. Your expertise has expanded beyond the capacity of your role. And so restlessness is not a warning sign or a sign that you're doing something wrong. Sometimes it's simply an expansion signal, telling you that a shift needs to take place in order to sustain and maintain professional growth. Now, as promised, I'm diving a lot deeper into what career identity expansion means and have so mapped out 5 stages of the career identity expansion framework. Stage 1 is restlessness. This is the stage where something just feels off. You're no longer content with what your career offers, and you know that you crave more. Stage 2 is curiosity. You start asking different questions, much like Dr. Janice Look did. You start asking, what else can I do? What solutions are there to the problems that I see in my day-to-day practice or in the world that I want to be a part of? Stage 3 is exploration. That is the stage where you start testing ideas. You research what's possible. You're following other people's journeys on LinkedIn or social media for inspiration, trying to understand how you can use your experience, your training, your background to add value to the world in new ways. Stage 4 is then translation, where you recognize your transferable skills and value and then learn how to apply these in new ways that matter to you and that feel authentic and represent who you are as a professional. And finally, stage 5 culminates in expansion, where after you've recognized your value, you understand how to apply your transferable skills in multidimensional ways. You can then create impact beyond your original role. And you break free from these inherited boundaries and limitations of titles and roles. And importantly, you get to rewrite the script and define what's possible for the next phase of your career. Now, the biggest myth about career growth is that growth requires leaving. And in reality, growth often demands expansion. A physiotherapist can be an educator, a consultant, a speaker. A nurse can be a researcher, entrepreneur, content creator, and we see that all the time on social media. An optometrist can be an industry educator, a founder, an innovator. As I said, what problems do you see that you want to be a part of solving? Notice that the profession stays, the identity expands, and the expression of your value through that identity is redefined. Now, how do you know your career identity is expanding? You may be experiencing career identity expansion if you are intellectually restless, you feel understimulated, under-challenged, you're curious about adjacent industries, or you notice opportunities perhaps that others have overlooked. You keep returning to certain ideas and something's bugging you about needing to do something about these ideas and take them out into the world with solutions that matter. You want to create and not just consume, and create in more diverse ways. You start asking bigger questions about impact and legacy. And that is really what expansion is all about. But why does expansion feel so uncomfortable? Here's the answer: because the real barrier isn't about skills, it's about identity. And that's so closely tied to what we perceive our value to be and our worth and everything around us. When we study as clinical professionals, much of our worth and how we present ourselves to the world is tied to that identity. When I left my professor job and started this podcast, naturally questions emerged. And I started asking, who am I if I do this thing? Coming from such a hierarchical academic environment, and now I want to enter the online social media space as a podcaster. What will my colleagues think? Am I abandoning my profession or my research trajectory? Am I qualified to step into this new space? Will I totally flop if I try something so unconventional? But expansion almost always creates that temporary identity tension. And the fear of peer judgment and pushback is honestly real. But know that it's a natural and necessary shift to embracing non-traditional forms of value expression in a world that has tried to define and contain our value in titles. So if you started asking these bigger questions this week, I want you to notice these things. Ask yourself, what topics keep capturing my attention? What problems keep frustrating you? What conversations are energizing you? What skills do you feel you're underutilizing? And where else do you feel or believe your expertise can create value? And when you reflect on these things, being able to answer these questions helps point you to possible career expansion opportunities, which is why many stay stuck because they're not sure what their next chapter can look like. So if you've been listening to Life Beyond Clinical Practice and thinking that you need something new, perhaps the next chapter of your career isn't about leaving. It's simply about expanding. Expanding your impact, your influence, your contribution, your definition of what's possible. Because the most successful professionals I know did not necessarily build completely different careers. They simply build bigger identities and expression of their value to the world. So as we close this episode, I want to share with you Life Beyond Clinical Practice's Career Identity Expansion Manifesto. We believe that healthcare professionals are more than their job titles. We believe expertise is transferable. We believe curiosity creates opportunity, and that careers can evolve without being abandoned. We believe expansion is often disguised as restlessness, and that the future belongs to professionals willing to redefine what their expertise makes possible. If this resonates with you, I encourage you to sign up for my free webinar happening June 24th at 10 a.m. Pacific. I will be live and talking all things career identity expansion and how you can design your next chapter with confidence and clarity, knowing that you're not leaving behind a profession you've invested so much in, but simply expanding your identity and redefining what's possible for your career. So I will include the link to sign up for the webinar in the show notes. And if for any reason you're not able to make it, I also have a wait list for the Career Identity Expansion Lab, which is where I will work with you in a small group to design your next chapter so that you can see clearly how to expand without abandoning everything you've built. So until next time, I look forward to walking this journey of career identity expansion with you, and do share this podcast with anyone you feel may benefit from it. Goodbye.